Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game of Fatal 12 on Nintendo Switch.
3日連続でこんなところに出入りしていたら、僕はそのうち補導されてしまうよ。
Federico and Scale are already there by the time Miharu arrives. As expected, Odette is nowhere to be
い
seen.
くら情報網に自信があるとはいえ、あれはないんじゃないかな、スケールさん。
She may have a smile on her face, but there's nothing but hostility towards him underneath.
俺もせっかく日本に来たんだから、日本の文化に触れておきたくてね。
他の店員も見たが、あんたが一番の上玉だ。自信を持っていいぜ。
もう帰っていいかい？そもそも今日はあまり穏やかな話ができそうにないからね。
Miharu makes it clear that she has no time for jokes. She refuses to order anything today. She does not even sit down before
メ
continuing.
イド喫茶にスケールさんと言ってくる。そうでもないとオデットさんから逃れられないんだね、フェデリーコさん。
てめえ、俺に喧嘩売ってんのか。
落ち着け、ミハルもだ。その様子だと今日呼ばれた理由はもう分かっているんだね。
Miharu freezes for an instant. She takes a moment to reflect on it. After all, she remains one step ahead of her own expectations. Miharu's pupils widen as she reacts to a conclusion, or as she reaches a
オ
conclusion.
デット・マランソンの脱落。僕を引き入れたのはそれが目的だね。
俺は君を仲間にしてよかったと思っているよ。彼女もまた危険な存在であることは分かっているはずだ。以前話した通り、人は行動するとき隙ができる。前を見ればその分、後ろで起きている出来事に気づかなくなるからね。
あんたが唯一あいつの懐に潜れる可能性を持っている。俺はこいつに対してオデットは好きなんて見せやしないからな。
おとといの今日だ。種明かしをするには少し早すぎやしないかい？
だからだよ、ミハル。君はオデットにかなわないと思ってしまってはいないか？彼女が強く聡明であることは誰の目に見ても明らかだ。だからこそ負けを認めるのは危険だ。オデットの性質は紛れもなく悪だ。だがそれを感じさせない不思議な性質も持ち合わせている。
あんたが取り込まれる前に伝えておこうと思ってな。アランの野郎もオデットもいなくなる。どうだ、随分と戦いやすくなるとは思えないか。
僕が彼女の情報を集められると、それは過大評価じゃないのかい？
情報って言っても死因はすでに俺とこいつで見当をつけてるんだ。オデットから隠れながらになっちまうが、もう数日もあればカード化できるまで情報が集まるはずだ。あんたはオデットの未練だけ探してくれればいいんだ。
卑怯なことをしていると両親が痛むなら心配することはない。悪を倒すなら俺たちは正義だろ。
There's no hesitation in Scale's voice. Miharu casts her gaze down, presenting herself as in deep thought. As she does so, laughter begins to leak out of her mouth.
面白いことを言うね、君は。僕たちは正義？くす、それは違うよ。僕たちはみんなまとめて悪だよ。でもそれでいいさ。悪だって構わない。僕の目的はいつだって一つだからね。
Part of her laughter comes from the massive collapse of tension. The wall she thought to be insurmountable has already begun to show cracks. Just as they've already gotten an idea of her cause of death, Miharu has come across clues regarding her regret. Turning those clues into a card shouldn't prove too difficult with Scale's help. What's most hilarious, however, is that Scale, who is willing to betray Odette immediately after forming an alliance, has no idea that Miharu possesses his cause of death card. Situations like this don't happen on a daily basis, and that is why Miharu finds herself laughing hysterically. Her sudden change in attitude seems to perplex Federico.
いつ壊れたか。
心外だね。 僕もおかしい時には笑ってしまうよ。協力関係を結んだんだ。精一杯全うさせてもらうよ。ただし僕が動くのはどちらにせよユウを脱落させた後だ。この条件については守ってもらうよ。
そう言うと思ったよ。もちろんだ。正義のためにね。
He extends his right hand, hoping for Miharu to shake it. Miharu does not respond in kind, however. Instead, she turns her back to him. The dim lighting in the bar shimmers off her long, sleek hair.
僕が言うまでもないけれど、ボロは出さないようにした方がいいよ。噛みつこうとして噛みつかれたら情けないからね。
今さらだぜ。俺はあいつと組んでからずっとこの機会を伺ってたんだ。気づかれてよむ気づかれていまいが、やるしかねえだろ。
Miharu exits the bar by the time Federico finishes his exclamation. Miharu finds herself staring into Lionhouse from outside once again. The nighttime summer breeze caresses her.
君のためにやり遂げるよ。くす正義か悪かなんて僕たちには関係ないからね。
Yeah, okay, sorry about that. I got some mail. A change of address. It's official as far as the post office is concerned. That said, she makes her way back home.
金曜日か。
I mutter to myself. I never accepted my grand's offer in the end. Not because I figure I'll be fine on my own. I just lack the motivation and energy to pack and travel the distance required. I probably would have gone if someone packed for me and she came to pick me up. I might just be a shell of a human at this point. And then the front buzzer rings. I ignore it. It rings again. I ignore it again. It doesn't stop ringing. It annoys me to the point where I actually go and answer it.
いい加減にし。
リータ
The sheer volume of the voice from beyond the speaker causes my body to jolt backward. That in turn causes me to miss the ideal opportunity to cut them short. The person on the other end takes that as their chance.
リータ開けて
I'm not sure why Mal's here, but I'm not in the mood to see her. But at the same time, I just don't have it in me to ignore her. I guess part of me figures she's here to cheer me up.
リータ久しぶりってすごい格好だね。
Mal gives her honest opinion on my current state. I know she's right too. My hair is a mess and I'm wearing pajamas. I've been at least taking baths and brushing my teeth, so I shouldn't look like a complete filth.
なんだかずいぶん久しぶりだね。たった4日なのにさ。うちらこんなに会わなかったことってないかも。そういえばライオン館に来たのもめっちゃ久しぶりだよ。確かゴールデンウィーク前にナオリンと昨日のドラマ見た？まさかあの二人がキスしちゃうとは思わなかったよ。
変な気使わなくていいよ。マオだって辛いんだし無理したくないでしょ。それよりさ、今日はどうしたの？
リータンにはバレちゃうよね。決まってるじゃん。リータンに会いに来たんだよ。連絡しても全然返してくれないから心配だったよ。
コーヒー入れるね。マオはカフェオレでいい？
今日はうちもコーヒーをもらおうかな。 ただお砂糖とミルクはたっぷり持ってきてね。
I tie my hair up before heading into the kitchen. Mao's thoughts and feelings are about coming here are clear just by the look on her face. I may not have the energy or motivation, but that's irrelevant when I'm in the kitchen. You're a pro the moment you enter the kitchen. My grand's words have stuck with me even now. Now that I think about it, I haven't made any coffee for a few days. It's not that long, really, but I don't think I've ever gone this amount of time without brewing anything. I doubt I've gotten any worse. No matter what condition I'm in, my body remembers what to do.
お待たせ。
はあ、いい香り。ってあれ、髪ほどいた瞬間またさっきのだらしないリータンに戻っちゃったね。
Mao may seem to be acting normally, but I can tell she's only about half as lively as she usually is.
苦。
One tiny sip is all it takes for her to grimace from the taste. She wastes no time in dumping 4 more sugars and extra milk into the cup after that. Not a moment of hesitation at all. Well, that's fine by me. Not particularly fussy about how people prefer their coffee. Lionhouse is meant to be a second home to its customers. Why do something here that you don't like doing at home?
だね。
Both of us quietly count raindrops as we drink our coffee. Time passes by slowly, as though in contrast to the tempo of the rain. The droplets clinging to the trees' leaves accentuate their beautiful green color.
数日間毎日泣いたよ。不思議だよね。雨だって止むのに涙は枯れないんだから。
Her voice is almost hushed enough to be drowned out by the rain. She is right, though. I spent every day in tears, and there seems to be no end to
リー
them.
タンはさ、どうして自分を責めてるの？
自分をどうして？
Linka wants to ask how Mao knows. After all, the only other person she talked to about you was Miharu. Regardless, she offers a simple explanation of the facts. Mao shouldn't know anything about divine selection, let alone the fact that Naomi got caught up in it.
リータンがうちのことをわかるなら、うちだってリータンのことはわかるよ。あの時リータンは事件現場に居合わせちゃっただけ。助けられなかったなんて思わなくていいんだよ。悪いのは犯人だよ。リータンは自分を責めるんじゃなくて、ナオリンのことを悲しんでればいいんだって。
私がナオミにコーヒーを教えなかったら、模擬店をやろうって思わなければこんなことにはならなかったんだ。あの日図書室で声をかけなければ、私と出会わなければナオミは知らなかったかもしれないんだ。
This is what I've been telling myself over and over again. Doing so has become a part of my daily routine.
そんな風に言うなよ。リータン、うちは楽しかった。リータンとミハルンとナオリンで過ごして楽しかったよ。ここでおしゃべりしたり遊園地に行ったりもした。リータンがそんな風に言ったら、せっかくの思い出がつまんなくなっちゃうよ。ナオリンとの思い出はうちらの宝物だよ。文化祭が終わったら遊ぼうって約束もしてたのにな。もっといろいろ一緒にいたかったけど。だからさ、リータンは自分を責めるんじゃなくて悲しんだ方がいいと思うよ。もっと一緒にいたかったって。亡くなっちゃった未来を悲しもうよ。
ナオミとの思い出。
Those memories aren't just mine. Like Mao said, those are memories we all treasure.
言ったじゃん。リータンがいなくなっちゃうような気がしたって。そんなの嫌だ。リータンがこのままずーっとダメになっちゃうのも嫌だ。割り切れないよ。うちだって全然割り切れないけどさ。これから先を生きるのは うちらなんだよ。
We're still alive. We still have our futures ahead of us. I still have the potential to achieve something, despite all that's happened. No one knows what the future holds in store for
元
us.
気出してなんて言わないよ。でもね、リータン、ずっと下を見てなくてもいい。前を見たら一緒に泣いてるうちらがいるよ。
もうダメだ。もう我慢できないや。
Neither of us can. We both cry our hearts out. Miles' crying face is all I see for a good while. Just because we're together doesn't make me any less sad. We can't share our pain. What happened pains each of us equally. Still, at the very least, we can weep over what we lost together. Night has fallen by the time we settle back down. Surprisingly enough, it also stopped raining. That's pretty rare for this time of season.
今週で休校はおしまいだってさ。リータン、聞いてた？
そうなの？
着信を遡ってみたら、学校から連絡あったと思うよ。とりあえず、来週いきなりサボっちゃダメだからね。
分かってる。来週また会おうね。
またね。
I head back to my room after seeing Mao off. Wanting to test something, I flip open my card book.
やっぱりそうだよね。こんな簡単なことに気づかなかったなんて。私。
Light spews forth from it, which eventually takes form of a new card. The contents are simple. My regret. It's none other than my regular life. It may seem trite, but it represents what the future holds for me. I always figured I had no regret to speak of, but even then I wanted to live. It takes me a while, but I finally figure out the answer that lays behind the contradiction. The lack of an answer in regards to my regret is, in itself, the answer I have been seeking. I just want to spend more time with everyone. I want to be someone who is cherished by everyone, like my gran. I want to fall in love, just like the characters in the shoujo manga I read. I want to watch a movie that really tugs at my heartstrings. I want to get better at making coffee. I want to make food worth serving here. I want to go to college. I want to grow old enough to drink. So many desires. So many wishes. So many possibilities. There's still so much I want to do. Things I haven't even realized yet. My regret is tied to the idea of what awaits me in life. Who I'll become. What I'll achieve. All of that. Thinking and worrying about that while marching forward is, to me, an integral part of my daily life. And that's not something I'll abandon so easily. I press the new card against my chest as I think that.
まさか真央に気づかされるなんてね。
I can't even stifle my laughter. It's the first time in a while I've been able to laugh. My actions from here on out are tied to my future. I'm the only one with the ability to achieve the limitless potential that awaits me. Who else could do that besides me? There's just one thing, though. One thing I have to achieve immediately.
取り戻す。
I throw my fist up towards the ceiling. Miles said it's fine for me to grieve, but I don't have that luxury. Nor do I have the luxury to sit around and blame myself. I'm currently balancing on the boundary of fate itself. Now is the time to face forward and act. I need to eliminate you. Not because of what he said. This is entirely of my own will. I'll take my life back with my own hands.
ナオミ。
Is my life worth casting aside the lives of others for? I still don't know the answer that. I still don't know that answer. But I know that I'm the one who will shape my own future. Electing you is a must. His elimination should undo Naomi's death. His entire attack on the school should be undone at that. As much as I don't want to remember the scene, his decision to kill with his own hands may have been for the sake of leaving that possibility open to me. Had the explosion or fire been her cause of death, things may have been tweaked so that she ended up dying in an accident or something similar. He's made thorough preparations for me to kill him. The only issue is that I only have his name and cause of death since his regret card disappeared. I can't just eliminate him and leave it at that either. What secrets are hidden within the memories he regained? Why is he so desperate for me to elect him? Only after I learn more about him do I plan to eliminate him. Not so I can sympathize with him like I have until now. He's the person responsible for taking Naomi's life. That fact won't change, no matter what. Just then the buzzer goes off again. We don't get customers around this time, so Mao must have left something here. Little do I know what's in store for me when I push the button for the speaker. If only it would have been Mao. Instead, it's numeral 11. More frightened by the prospect of what will happen if I ignore her, I decide to let her in. I wouldn't be surprised if she busted the door down if I hadn't. She seems far more bulky up close than when I saw her at Shiketsuku's house. The extent to which she stands out in a cafe like this doesn't help. Judging by how she hasn't assaulted me yet, I can only assume that she's got other business here. It'd only take a matter of seconds for her to render me helpless at this distance. That is the one silver lining here.
もう寝る時間だったかい？いえ。現実世界で会うのは2週間ぶりくらいか。元気してた？目的は何ですか？はあ、どこ行っても警戒されるね。私はさ、ミハルって嬢ちゃんの方がもう少しフレンドリーだったけどな。ミハル？ミハルに何かしたんですか
？Her having taken Mihato hostage is the first thing that pops into my head. That can't be it, though. We fooled everyone into thinking we'd had a falling out with our little exchange in the Court of Fate.
やっぱてめえらは仲間割れなんてしてなかったわけだ。だがその反応を見ると、あの嬢ちゃんが今どうしてるかは知らなそうだな。無理もないか。後輩が殺されて悲しまない方がおかしいか。てめえの目が死んでないところを見ると、ここ数日でようやく立ち上がったってとこか。
Alan said she's the type of person to reach conclusions through situational evidence. He was dead on. She was able to snatch the answers from me just by talking and then judging my reaction. It doesn't help that I'm feeling pressured by her. Sitting upright in situations like this makes one seem more confident. That's what my gran always used to say.
もう一度聞きます。ミハルに何かしたんですか？ああ、その調子だ嬢ちゃん。それくらいの気概がなくちゃ、私と話す資格はねえ。ミハルってのはそんなに弱く見えるかい？いいえ、少なくとも私よりはずっと強い。ほう、いい答えだ。私はオデット・マランソン。まあ、とりあえずこれで警戒レベルは下げてくれ。
That said, my card book begins to glow. Eventually, the light takes form of her name card.
どうして？私はてめえと話をしに来たんだ。てめえに私の名前を知られたところで負ける気はしない。何より初めのビビりようからして私のカードを持ってないことは分かってたしな。だったら名前くらい明かして信頼関係の第一歩にでもしようじゃねえか。私は教えませんよ。ああ、その心配はいらねえ。凛か獅子舞。この場所が割れてる時点で使命がバレてるって分かってただろうけどよ。
It's just as she says. In fact, it'd be odd for someone not to find out my name along with Lionhouse.
あなたが牛塚さんの時みたいにこの家を襲いに来たわけじゃないってことは分かりました。最初からそう言ってるだろう。そうだな。あえてこう言ってみるか。私はてめえを助けに来てやったんだ。私を助ける？冗談はやめてください。まあまあ遠慮しなさんな。ユウを脱落させたくても一歩先に進む手段がないってのがてめえの状況だろ。さーて、一から話すか。おい、コーヒーくらい出してくれ。
Odette takes a seat at one of the tables. Odette takes a seat at one of the tables without giving me so much as a glance. I don't think I've gotten any other options, so I make some for both of us.
なかなかいい味だ。てめえ、年の割には努力してるじゃねえか。上出来だ。
She stands and stretches after tasting her coffee. She strikes me as the type who would voraciously devour meat and chug down any sort of alcohol, but to my surprise, she is able to discern the type of beans and roasting method I use. After that, we discuss things while drinking our coffee. The first thing she tells me is regarding Yu. He's part of a terrorist organization in Japan and was originally meant to carry out an attack on the Yamanote line. That just so happens to be the attack Naomi and myself got caught up in. They don't seem to be aware of my cause of death, though. Next up is Miharu. Not only has she met with Odette, but she's even formed an alliance with her, Federico, and numeral 11, or numeral 9, whose name seems to be Scale. Their ultimate objective is to eliminate Alan. I'm not quite sure if he's an inherently bad person after having spoken to him personally, but his status as a major player in Divine Selection can't be denied. What surprises me most is learning that Miharu has convinced them to target you first. Her goal is the same as mine, then. She wants to save Naomi. It's hard not to tie what happened at Amicha to Divine Selection, all things considered. Not only is Yu the culprit, but it's a school both myself and Miharu attend. I'm the one who knows that Yu's doing this to make me elect him, but they interpret it as his attempt to provoke the other participants.
ミハルがあなたたちと。
てめえらが内輪もめしているって情報があるからこそ、スケールはミハルを誘ったんだろうよ。私を騙すには甘すぎるが、てめえらの考えは悪くねえ。フェデリーコのバカもスケールも、リンカとミハルは仲違いしたままだと思ってるみてえだからな。
None of that explains why she's here, though. In fact, it makes it even less sense now that I know that they're cooperating.
ユウを脱落させた後、連中はアランだけじゃねえ。3人で組んで、私のことも脱落させるつもりさ。
でもミハルがそんな嘘。
I was going to say she wouldn't deceive someone like that, but I couldn't finish the sentence. Miharu's strength of will is rock solid. She wouldn't betray someone solely for her own gain, though. Which means it's either for Naomi's sake or mine. That much is easy to figure out.
ま、あの嬢ちゃんは私がスケールの腹に気づいていることも想定しているだろうよ。もっとも言った通り、ユウを脱落させ、アランのカードを揃える見通しが立つまでは、私に白羽の矢は立たねえだろう。私の力を連中は過小評価してるはずはねえからな。
The sheer confidence she has in herself isn't something I'd ever dispute. It's not my place to make this comparison, but she's probably the only person who can compare to Alan out of all the participants, assuming we judge purely on strength of character. None of what she's said thus far explains why she came to see me, though.
しかし私としては、ユウを脱落させた後に連中と敵対するのも予定調和でつまらない。
つまらないとか面白いとか関係あるんですか？
当たり前だ。人生楽しめねえなら死んだ方がマシさ。
I really like Odette. Man, she's a great character.
わかりません。
理解なんざ求めてねえよ。ま、ってわけで、私の方から裏切ってやるってわけだ。
A bold smile accompanies her proclamation.
そろそろちゃんと話してください。私を助けに来たっていうのはどういう意味なんですか？
言葉通りの意味だよ。てめえは後輩の死をなかったことにするためにユウを脱落させたいが手段がねえ。たかが一人死んだくらいでめめしい嬢ちゃんだが。
たかがじゃないだろう。ナオミの命をたかがなんて言うな。
I've messed up by saying that. I don't regret it, though. I won't let anyone get away with saying that about Naomi. I don't even bother to say anything else after that. I just glare at her.
上出来だ。 てめえが今の発言を聞き逃してたら私はこのまま帰るつもりだった。それにその調子で喋れよ。敬語なんてのは私は知らねえ。
私を試した？
ああ、そうさ。悪いかい？私はてめえを助けに来たって言ったが無条件じゃねえ。その選択を迫る意味があるかどうかを試したんだ。あのガキ、そしてあのガキの所属するヌル日本支部の残党は今週末の土曜日、つまり明日再びテロを起こすつもりだそうだ。最後にでっかい花火を上げようって魂胆だろうな。連中の標的は東京タワーだ。
嘘。
すでに計画は動き出している。爆弾作成に必要な硝酸アンモニウムや軽油のイレギュラーな動きがあったって情報は出てるみたいだ。
Ammonium nitrate's generally used for fertilizers, but only pros are allowed to handle it. Even if they plan things out well, they can't cover their tracks completely. Not quite sure how it works. Not only powerful as the bomb, it'll also spread fire everywhere. Fire bombs, basically. Probably the same type that you used when he blew up the train, as well as Amicha.
後先なんて考える余裕はないだろうから派手にやるだろうな。休日の東京タワーで爆発なんて何人死ぬかわからねえ。それに U は選定の参加者だから死なねえ。普通なら犯人も死亡して終わりの自爆テロが終わらねえってわけだ。
そんな分かってるんだったら止めないと。
優しいね。だが私は別にこの国の人間が何人死のうが知ったことじゃない。
Sheer disgust I feel over that admission causes me to glare at her again. She raises her fingers and thrusts it in front of my mouth before I can say anything, though.
だが私が動けばちんけなテロごとき止めるのはたやすい。
The fact that she can make a statement like that sound believable is part of what makes her so impressive.
でもテロなら警察が出動した方が。
連中の計画を知ってるのは私らみたいな裏の人間だ。たとえわずかでも警察と関わりたがる奴はいねえ。しかもテロが起きた方が利益が得られる連中ばかりだぜ。記事は金に変わるからよ。何よりわけのわからねえ偶然に守られて自爆しても死なねえ人間が混ざってるんだぞ。警察の被害も相当なもんになるだろうな。
She's probably right. There's no way anyone would swallow the idea that he can't die because he's a participant in divine selection. They're just as likely to have more than just bombs at their disposal, so who knows how many casualties would result.
私としてはスケールやフェデリーコ、一応ミハルからも狙われている以上とっとと勝負をつけたいんだ。ここまで来たら言いたいことはわかるな。
言って。
私がテロを止め、てめえとユウが接触する機会を作ってやる。てめえなら奴から未練を引き出せるはずだ。ジジイの家に出入りしてたのも、ジジイの脱落後にガキと話してたのも裏は取れてるんだ。ユウを脱落させて後輩を救える。見知らぬ何人もの国民も救える。ただしこれは取引だ。代償はリンカ、てめえ自身のカードだ。死因と未練ってわけだ。てめえが U の情報を得た時点で教えてもらう。つまり U と同じ選定でてめえは終わりだ。ただし確信を持って言えるぜ。運命は元通りになり、後輩が無事助かるってな。
Fate will run its original course, with both myself and you eliminated. It makes sense. My elimination would result in Naomi witnessing my death. That's how things went originally. Odette probably doesn't know that much, but her words hit me hard.
さあ選べ。確実な方法で後輩を助けるか、不確実だが自分で頑張るか。どうする？
As for me... Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I don't imagine I'm supposed to accept. Although that would be one ending that we could do. But let's turn her down.
叫んなよ。
ひゅー。
さっきからずっと上から目線で。あなたは重要なところを隠してる。あなただけじゃユウを脱落させられないってことを。そしてきっとあなたはミハルたちが彼の未練を手に入れられないことも読んでいるはず。助けるだなんて言ってるけど、そんなの嘘だ。私たちは対等だ。私もあなたに力を貸すんだ。
後輩ちゃんのことはいいのかい？
だから言ってるんだ。私もって。私はユウを脱落させて後輩を救う。ついでに無関係な人がテロに巻き込まれるのも防ぐ。その手伝いをさせてやる。
There's a certain ferocity behind my each and every word. I mean everything I've said to her. Mainly because I know. Rather, she's given me the hints. Her actions are determined by the thrill they bring her. She believes that you're better off dead if you can't enjoy life. I'll let her have her fun. Accepting her conditions would only deprive her of that.
上等。そういうのを待ってたんだ。コーヒー代にしては高くつくが、やってやろうじゃねえか。
Her actions aren't determined by logic. That's what matters here. I have made my decisions, but I haven't quite been able to calm myself down. Odette wants to take me along to her base of operations so we can start to make our preparations. She says it'll take about 2 hours by car to get there. She's apparently got one ready for us. Goes without saying that it can't be traced back to her either.
疲れた。
Hard not to be after everything that's happened today. In an ideal world, I'd get to dive into bed, but I don't have the luxury of that right now. We'll both be up all night once we get to wherever she's taking me. We have plenty of planning to do. Honestly, it's amazing how far from reality this all feels. My mind flashes back to my exchange with Odette as I pack a change of clothes and my phone charger. It's started to settle in. I'm working with her now. In all honesty, it's reassuring. I didn't think highly of her after hearing about how she took Sonia's parents hostage, but she doesn't seem all that bad now that I've spoken to her in person. That said, there are aspects of her I don't understand. Why would she reveal her name to me without demanding anything in return? Surely that puts her at a disadvantage. There's probably no point in thinking about it. She's the sort of person who will blow your expectations out of the water if you try to think too hard. In that case, I'm better off going with the flow. As usual, putting a lid on my thoughts is the best option. One small and unimportant thing is different this time around, though.
私は必ず。
おい、まだか？
Odette shouts up at me from downstairs. She must be tired of waiting. Telling her I'll be right down, I'll make my way towards the stairs.
さて、じゃあ行くとするか。
A blue car is parked outside. It has a nice coat of polish. Definitely not the kind of car you'd see around the city. Yep, a bona fide luxury car. The driver's seat is even on the left-hand side, so it must be foreign. There's no way we won't stand out in a car like this.
運転って。
車なんて船の操縦に比べれば簡単だ。日本は右側通行だったか？
左。
I know she's joking, but I still shout my response. It's hard not to when you know you're about to be her passenger. Little do I know that her driving would turn out to be even more atrocious than expected, leading to our grueling 2-hour journey.
疲れた。
ジョーちゃんは貧弱だね。
I never thought someone else's driving could make me feel so exhausted. I am mentally spent as it is, but now my body's drained as well. Doesn't help that I'm normally getting ready for bed around now. Thanks to all that, I don't even have it in me to answer her.
とまあ、どっかの配送会社が潰れて以来、そのままにされている廃墟みたいなもんだ。
We arrive at an empty warehouse on the outskirts of town near the shore. The road signs we passed said we were going towards Yokohama, so I estimate we're somewhere around there. As Odette said, this place usually does look abandoned. Rusted metal and broken windows are its defining features.
寂れてるっていうか寂しいっていうか
ま、当時のものは何もねえからな。それに会社を潰しちまった経営者の怨念でもこもってたりしてな。
そういう話はなし。
怖がってんのか？幽霊なんかいやしねえよ。
I don't believe in ghosts either. It's just that the atmosphere here creeps me out.
誰だ？
A sudden voice calls out from the darkness and causes me to tense up. Not due to my imagination running wild, but because the voice is familiar to me.
貴様は
It's Alan Scorpion. His figure becomes more clear as my eyes adjust to the darkness. Did he just happen to be using the same place as Odette? Odds of that seem awfully low.
ようアラン、連れてきたぜ。
遅かったな。
It doesn't take long before my doubts are cleared up.
まさか二人とも仲間？
仲間ではない。
ジョーちゃんと同じ一時的な協力関係さ。まあ、つまりこいつはリンカとも協力関係ってわけさ。文句はないね。
Alan's even more expressionless than usual, whereas Odette has a big grin on her face. These are the two people I fear the most in Divine Selection. I never would have expected them to team up, let alone that I would end up as part of that team. Nervous doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. I'm on the verge of throwing up. But there's an odd sense of relief mixed in me, too. Describing it as a sort of animalistic instinct may be appropriate. There are no better people to team up with than these two. That much is a fact.
文句はないけど状況を教えて。
どうってことはない。私もこいつも人からの敵意には敏感ってだけだ。
9番が率先して僕を脱落させたがっていることには気づいていた。敵の敵は味方と言っておこうか。
真っ先にフェデリーコのアホを狙ってもいいんだがよ。それじゃあつまんねえ。だったらまずは連中の狙ってる4番のガキユウを先取りしてやった方が面白いだろ。
I figured it would be something like that. There's no way these two would work together otherwise. Miharu's likely included with the people Odette's referring to. While that does bother me, it's safe to assume Odette won't go near her before Yu is eliminated. I still haven't thought about what to do once I accomplish that. Ideally, I'll have the opportunity to talk things out with Miharu as soon as possible. I need to be careful about that, though. The others are only cooperating with her because they're under the impression that we're no longer friends. I turn to face Alan. Does he know the conditions that Odette presented me with?
どうして私を？
君が4番と何か因縁があるのは知っている。君なら彼の未練を聞き出せるはずだ。そういう意味で僕たちと利害は一致している。
As usual, I can't figure out his true motives. Before, he mentioned wanting to see how far my mindset could take me. Is he using this as an opportunity to judge that?
さあ、ご託はいい。ちゃんと用意してるんだろうな。
問題ない。
That said, he carries a number of sturdy cases over to us. Odette proceeds to open them with a wide grin on her face. Inside are handguns. I assume the differing shapes mean they're all different makers. There are 3 in total.
M500 リボルバーにベレッタにトカレフか。有名どころを揃えてきたもんだ。おっと、このトカレフは偽物か？
文句を言うな。山頂でもこの国で武器を仕入れるのは骨が折れた。
これ全部本物？
撃ってみるかい？ここは今違い封建だ。
いや、そうじゃなくって。
They honestly don't look much different from the replicas I've seen before. That makes it hard for me to process what I'm looking at. That I'm looking at real firearms, weapons used to take other people's lives. And at the same time, part of me avoids touching them on instinct.
テロ組織と戦うんだぜ。丸腰でいけると思うか？
Alright, why don't we stop it there? This is Autopostrophe. You've been watching Fatal 12 on Nintendo Switch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.